Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Big weekend for basketball?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I look at it as the term must win is used too often. I'm not looking, it's not a must win because if you win the next 5 in a row, it's fine, right? But I look at it as you've made so much hay this season, OB, like you, in the belief category, right? When Bucky first got hired, there was belief because there was a new system and, you know, then I think we got back to reality when we realized there weren't that many players available. He did as best he could with the roster, and I think he's done a wonderful job. I think the couple losses early on are like, a little disheartening. And then they go on this roll, start winning great. SEC play starts. And I look at this game as this can be, for multiple reasons, not be just because who the opponent is, but like, this is like, I told you we were good. Like, don't let one loss to Tennessee tell you that we're not good. And then I still think about who the opponent is, and considering the last 12 months, a little bit longer than the last 12 months as an athletic program. Volleyball got a national championship. I love it. But I'm just saying, the way that program with a different coach, and we have a different coach, beat you last year twice. Mm-hmm. And this is the one, weren't they up double digits with
21 points in Austin? Yeah.
Right around the same weekend, by the way.
Yeah. This Texas A&M basketball team, who has already overachieved more than I think most reasonable people, their expectations. They were very resilient in a win over LSU. They were extremely resilient in a win over Auburn. Mm-hmm. And they were actually, quite frankly, resilient in their other win over Oklahoma. But that resiliency is going to get its ultimate test because not only are you having to overcome the trauma of losing in Knoxville, a game you were, I want to say never had it in hand, but you were as close, it was so in reach to winning that game on the road. And then to lose that game, and you always hear coaches say, don't let a loss beat you twice. But to lose that game, and then the next game you have is on the road against your fans' most hated rival. I don't know if it is to the players because
they're all new.
They're all new.
Yeah.
And how many of them are actually from Texas, right? But to an arch rival, SEC on the road, and that team just happens to have just hit the accelerator and is playing its basketball.
Yeah.
Its best basketball. So yes, this will be a game to really test A&M's resilience. And if they can go into Austin and win that game, the win at Tennessee would have been much better just from the fact that Tennessee, I think, from a RPI situation.
Right.
But because of the circumstances, if you can go to Austin and win, that might be an even bigger win because it shows that it magnifies that intestinal fortitude that you have to be a great team. You know, this is as old. The term overcoming adversity is as old as sports itself.
Right.
Every coach in every sport always preaches about that, having that ability to do so. And this would be the ultimate example, if they were able to go and win in Austin, of being able to overcome adversity.
Let's do 3 things we want to see. Brought to you by the Brazos Running Company and MasonHay.com. From running shoes to Aggie pajamas, this Aggie family's got you covered. Visit Brazos Running Company in Century Square or shop MasonHay.com. Obi, what are the 3 things you want to see this weekend?
I think there's 3 things that A&M has to do to win games in basketball. I think they've got to hit about at least a dozen 3-pointers. I think they have to force probably that many, if not more, turnovers. And you probably got to get to the free throw line
And make them.
and shoot, more than at least 20 times and shoot at least 70%. If you do all those things, you have a great chance to win.
So here's
I
mine.
believe.
They got to narrow that rebounding edge. Okay?
It'll be hard.
It's going to be hard, but they got to find a way to narrow it. I want them to close out the game by hitting free throws, right? And just win. Like, whatever it takes, just win.
Yeah, 3 things I want to see. I want to see a triumph, a victory, and a win.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things.
Yeah. Hey, OB, I really like this quote. It's Mark Twain quote that
Mark
you
Twain?
used. Yeah. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot on. You want to tell us the background behind that?
Yeah, I like to quote people like Mark Twain because it makes me look
Smarter than
well-read
you
and
are?
smarter than I am, yes. But
Did you Google, hey, give me some Mark Twain
no, I've
quotes?
actually heard that before.
Okay.
I went through a period one time of trying to become
Well-read?
more read, so I started reading a lot of Mark Twain, and I read some Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
Old Man and the Sea, by the way, you should read it.
Good.
Yeah, and it takes place in Cuba. So anyway,
Soon to be free Cuba?
soon to be free. It was free then when it was written, and soon to be free again.
I hope.
All that said, the idea is, I know it's a little bit old, but I thought it was kind of timely because of the national championship game being this week, and I won't be writing another column before that. And it was just like, I was going back to I'm not even going to dignify and give some of the people, quote, advertising acknowledgement. But there were those that have been on the show.
It's been a while that they've been on the show.
I'm just saying they have been on this
Yeah.
show. But there's been more than one people that were calling Texas A&M a fraud after they lost to Miami. And now the point is, I think that 10-point or that 10-3 loss, when the difference in the 10-3 loss was really 5 yards. And now that team is playing for the national championship after the team you lost in Miami, after beating Ohio State and beating Ole Miss. And by the way, no one called Ohio State and Ole Miss frauds.
Nope.
For losing to Miami.
Did Ohio State win a playoff game?
They did not.
Huh. Did they lose their the Big Ten championship?
They did. They
lost their last 2 games.
Yeah, because of erratic field goal kicking was a big factor. Imagine that. So anyway, the point is, and then you say, hey, look, A&M 11-2. You beat Notre Dame, a team on the road.
But they didn't make the playoffs.
On the road, ESPN, who's never any friend of Texas A&M, rated their schedule the 7th toughest in the country, and your only loss in regular season play was on the road against a ranked SEC opponent at night. I've said this before. How many SEC teams go undefeated now? I mean, I remember Georgia won the SEC championship last year with two losses, right?
Yep.
So it's, if you're going to say how difficult the schedule, it's a loss on the road, though very disheartening and disappointing, at least from the outside, should be somewhat forgivable and expected.
Look, this is what happened. They played their worst brand of football at the end. That's it.
And they also played
good teams.
Yeah. Because, as much as we like to,
Well, but that's why they say fraudulent. Like, so the term fraudulent, does that mean they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's what he was trying to say, or that their SEC status was a fraud. And I've said this before. Look, if take Auburn, for example, that you beat. And I know Auburn didn't finish in the upper division of the SEC, but So I would say, okay, maybe if a team like Auburn just got pummeled every time they played.
Then you would say, yeah.
But Auburn was a blown call away from beating Oklahoma in Norman. Auburn was a controversial call away from probably beating Georgia. Auburn was marching downfield with a chance to beat Alabama late. Was it not? Was it Auburn? I might get wrong. There was another team that was really successful. Did Auburn have a close game against Vanderbilt, or am I thinking about? I think Auburn. Did they go in, or am I thinking about Missouri? I thought maybe Auburn went into
Missouri. I think it is.
Maybe they went into overtime with Missouri. Is Missouri?
They did, yeah.
Right, and then you say, okay, well, Missouri. All right, they were not a top team, yeah, but again, they had a great. They squandered a chance to beat Alabama. They were right there. I think it was a 1-point loss, maybe to Vanderbilt. They were. Or close.
They lost by 7 to Vanderbilt.
7. They were on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
They were on the 1 yard line. That's what that's what I'm saying is.
Let me just read this to you, okay? Because this stretch of the season where it spiraled out of control, that's what I think causes some losses later. They lost by 7 to Oklahoma, 6 to A&M, 10 to Georgia, and again, these are 2 of those games easily.
We're talking about Auburn.
Auburn, yeah. Could have gone the other way.
And again,
Missouri, double overtime. Kentucky, 1 score. Vanderbilt, overtime.
Right. So Auburn, were they a great offensive team? No. But were they a dangerous team? Was it easy to beat Auburn? No. So, and then Missouri, and you can say what you want to about LSU. LSU, kind of the same thing. A&M just blew them out in their house. But if you'll look and see how, I think, and I know he didn't have a great year, but if Garrett Nussmeier, who played against A&M, plays against Alabama instead of Michael Van Buren at quarterback for LSU might win that game. And the same goes for their game against Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And they only lost by in a close game by 5 points to Ole Miss. So, yeah, it's very easy to dismiss A&M, but LSU and a team like Missouri, both of those teams were ranked when A&M played them. You can say, well, they weren't. They were overranked. Well, were they? Or when they played A&M, did they afterwards have like in Auburn's case, a quarterback change?
Right. Because
he got hurt. But he was fine when he played A&M. So anyway, so you can look at all those factors to just reinforce that no, there was nothing fraudulent about A&M. If you'll look at the facts and the data. But at the same time, you can do that and put all that evidence. It's almost like politics today. You can put all that evidence, and but no amount of evidence will ever convince an idiot. And if you're seeing this, you know what I'm talking about, Chris. You're an idiot.
I wish the camera was really on you. They were showing highlights.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And I don't care if anybody. I mean, I'm too old to care if anybody likes me or gets their feelings hurt.
Well, I don't know who Chris is. Anyway.
Yeah.
I do. Let's do this.
But not just him. It wasn't.
No.
There were others.
His shtick was more like, let me get this hot sports take out to get off my chest, and let me do a YouTube video.
Well, how can I get clicks?
Yeah, I mean, and I have a problem with the industry doing that anyway. But whatever.
Well, to me, that just shows that where sports media has gone is you don't really have to be a responsible journalist. You just got to be some, doofus with a
look
video on your iPhone and try to come up. What hot cake can I say?
Let me ask you a question. Let's talk about this.
Sliced bread may have more legitimacy than that guy.
Is it fair to say that Texas started the season off fraudulent and finished strong? Maybe not fraudulent. Is it possible to say they weren't as good? The first product that we saw wasn't as good at the end.
I'll say this: if you wanted to put a fraud label on somebody, because I don't think that was the case at Texas.
But do you think they were better at the end of the year than they were in the beginning?
They were.
Okay.
You could look at Texas and the way they played through the entirety of the season and say, I'm not going to call somebody a fraud for losing by a touchdown, to Ohio State on the road. As much as I don't like them, I'm not going to. You're not. Now, had they fallen apart and not been able to pull out that game at Kentucky, or not being able to pull out, and I know Mark Stoops helped them, and not pull out the game at Mississippi State, and kept losing after Florida, then maybe. But
sorry,
that if I wanted to me, if you wanted to label somebody a fraud, you label Clemson, because Clemson was a top 5 team coming in, and did they even finish with a winning record? I mean, I think they just eked into a bowl game, or did they at all?
Yeah, they made a bowl game. It was a pinstripe bowl against Penn State.
So they finished 7-6,
something like that,
or maybe 6-7. Now, if you're a top 5 team coming into the year, and you either break, are you looking at?
They went 7-6.
Okay, and the best you can come up with 7-6. Then that's probably fraudulent.
I guess, Obi, my point was that
you can be overrated without being a fraud.
My point about it was that a season has many storylines throughout a season, and I think Texas, wins and losses regardless, were not the same. They finished as a different team than they were in the middle of the season. Okay,
I think teams get better. Miami got better,
so they did this, and I think the same thing about A&M reverse, and it could be because of the schedule got a lot tougher the last 8 quarters. No doubt, they had a playoff game. You had a team that some people were arguing, but if you can argue for Texas making the playoffs at the end of the year, you can still absolutely make the case that A&M was not fraudulent because they lost a couple games at the end. What I'm saying is one arrow was pointing up at the end, one wasn't at the end, but the total body of work, one was better.
Yeah, look, and I know this is not meant to be a comparison to Texas, but all I'm saying is, again, you can say, well, look at A&M's schedule. All right, they beat Florida. Okay. Florida beat Texas.
Yep.
So beating Florida, while Florida may not have been a great team, it was not an easy thing to do to go out and just beat Florida.
Yep.
Ask the Texas Longhorns.
This is still TexAgs Live.
TexAgs
we haven't
Live.
told the people. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Jason Jackson, the boys.
It is the Go Hour.
Brought to you by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
And typically we hang out over there.
In the Holistic Planning Cool Zone, but the Cool Zone travels.
Yeah. I miss the Cool Zone because it's kind of a comfortable little vibe.
But I miss the chairs in the Cool Zone.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, I like those chairs. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is to call us on the
Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
The other way is to text us on the Catalyst Pure Performance text line.
Pure Performance Energy, PPE.
Let's get down with
Text
PPE.
line. And that number?
Is 979-693-1150. We go around the room, left to right, say hi to the people behind the glasses. Nick Savage, excuse me. Hey, Nick, good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Just quick question for y'all, I guess. What player this Saturday has to step up, has to have the big game in order for A&M to beat the streaking Longhorns right now?
Team effort, buddy. It's gotta be
Alabama, Vanderbilt, 2 really big wins. So it's going to be a tall task, but who has to be the guy on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know that it can be the guy. It's going to have.
I'd like to see Pop have a good game, like beginning to end.
But this A&M team, no offense to the question here, but this A&M team has showed over and over that there's not a star on the team. I mean, maybe Aggie's the best player, maybe, but everybody's. It's a team effort. We've talked about before the greatest asset of this basketball team is its depth, is its ability to have 10 players that can play at a pretty even level and play hard and make your opponent play harder than they're used to, for 40 minutes. That's the greatest asset. I'll say, so here's my answer. If I had to pick one guy, and I don't even know who it is, and it's not one guy, but I'll say the primary guy, if you want to look historically, that's most important is whoever is guarding, what's his name?
Tremont Mark.
Tremont Mark, who has been just a thorn in A&M's side.
For how long? Houston, Arkansas.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if he ever played A&M at Houston, but I know he has twice.
Yeah.
Last year, he was the guy that hit the game-winning shot. And you know what? 2 years ago against Arkansas, he hit a game-winning shot with 1 second to go. And he scored 35 points in that game. He had like 24 or 28 in another.
He's 49 years old.
And he probably averages 28 points against A&M.
Yeah.
So whoever's the primary guy guarding him may be the most important guy.
Nick, by the way, my apologies. I recognize that I was not on my 2 mark. Nick was setting up the cameras, and as he set it up, I moved to the right spot, so he had to reset up the camera. So apologies.
That's okay. That's what they pay me for.
Yeah, but I saw the look. He gave me that look.
There was no
of
look.
an angry,
What are you talking
angry dad.
about?
Like,
That's Nick's look.
I did not do that.
You did it
first
one of
of
these.
all. Oh my gosh.
Nick always looks
Whatever.
like that.
yeah. Hey, Nick.
He's a little high strung.
Nick, can you be at work at 6 a.m.? Reese Nygren at the Angry
That is
Elephant.
how it actually
I know
looks,
he's
yeah.
always here when I get here.
He's always here. He lives here. He's got a
It
little
seems
cot
like
upstairs.
it. He's like a football coach that sleeps in his office.
Yeah. Go home sometimes. Reese Nygren, you're always away. Hello, how are you at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center?
Always away. I feel like that's a shot.
No, you do Social Center on Fridays.
Yeah, I'm only here once a week now, but
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Good. What do you got?
Mark Weaver and the Texas A&M women's tennis team kick off their regular season today with a doubleheader beginning at 11 a.m. against the Tulane Green Wave and wrapping up against Lubbock Christian at 3:30, with both matches occurring at the Mitchell Tennis Center. The Aggies will finish their opening weekend against Sam Houston and Air Force on Sunday. The times for those games still to be announced.
Do they do preseason team rankings for tennis?
They do.
They got to be like top 1 or 2, right?
They're always in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I just Mark Weaver's got his program. You just think, okay, they're kicking off against Tulane and Lubbock Christian. Their quest for a national championship.
Right.
Their national championship.
ITA number 2 preseason.
See, there you go.
Their quest for their second national championship in the
He's
last
going
3
to say
years.
to Jamie Morrison, "Here, hold my beer."
Hold my beer.
Even
Pat Henry's like,
even though,
hold my trophy case.
hold my keg. But who knows? Maybe Mark Weaver doesn't strike me as the type of guy that drinks beer.
No, he's just a good old boy laid back.
Yeah. Oh, next time I see him, we're going to have to ask him.
Champagne because he does so much winning.
He may have to do that, yeah.
One more, Nygren.
Yeah, there are 2 Aggies still in the NFL playoffs, which continue on this weekend. Jade Walker for the Chicago Bears, looking to make an impact. Didn't do a whole lot in the wild card round, but the Bears do host the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday at 5:30 on NBC. And then most notably was Christian Kirk's career performance for the Houston Texans against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round, where Kirk called in 8 of his 9 targets for 144 yards and a touchdown. The Texans will head to Foxborough to face the Patriots at 2 p.m. on Sunday on ESPN and ABC.
Is Shamar Turner not playing for the Bears? Is he like?
He's on there.
He's there, but when the NFL or the Aggies made the post about Aggies in the NFL playoffs, he was not on the graphic.
Okay. So
he
maybe
might be injured.
Yeah, okay. Hey,
He's on the IR.
Two receivers.
Mm-hmm.
2 A&M receivers.
Huh, who would have thought that?
How about that? And one of them's not Mike Evans.
OB, I'm going to switch up 1775 on you.
Okay.
Because we've gotten very comfortable with a certain part of the menu.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we know.
I mean, I know what I get. You
go home to Irma every night because you love her. You go to 1775 and you get the same food every time because you love it. So, but I'm going to switch it up on you. I'm going to give you some options.
I have changed on occasion, but let me hear.
Because they got specials from time to time.
Special
on Thursdays, which was yesterday. You could have had this, the brisket Philly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Philly cheesesteak with brisket.
On Fridays, you can indulge in Brazos spuds or perfectly smoked half chickens.
I haven't had the half chicken. Irma had the spud one time, and then she had the beef, the brisket in it,
Yeah.
and it was enormous.
Okay.
She loved it, by the way.
On Saturdays, this one's right up my alley. Raspberry chipotle pork belly burnt ends.
I would have to say, can I have that without and hold the raspberry chipotle?
I want to try it.
Because I don't like raspberry.
Okay, well, then maybe this one you would like.
But I do like the pork belly.
And they also have on Saturdays smoked.
I have a pork belly.
Barbacoa tacos.
Oh, see, the wife would be all over that. Yeah. Doesn't barbacoa, does that come from the head?
It comes from the barbacoa.
Well, where's the barbacoa come from?
On the top.
Huh?
Yeah. Cabeza.
Yeah.
So we should go to 1775 and try new things.
You know what? I was actually planning to go today. IDOC Mike and I were going to go, and then I saw that A&M basketball press conference at like 12:15. So that not this week.
Well, what you should do,
Bucky, you're getting in the way of my 1775, dude.
979-492-6241, or check out the website 1775txbbq.com.
It's good.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. My mic's on. Do you not hear me? Oh, hey. Hey, Obi. How are you? Good to see you. Just making sure. Yeah. Anyway, we are in the Rollo Insurance Studio during the Go Hour. Obi, I want to read you this. Pro Football Focus. You're familiar with their work?
Yeah.
They've got 2 Aggies in the first round of the NFL draft. I'm sure you can figure out who they are.
Cassius Howell and Casey Concepcion.
But I'm going to give you just some names.
Okay.
They've got number 1, the Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza.
Okay.
Part of the good team.
The wife, who's a big Raiders fan, she signs off on that one.
Yeah. Let's see. Other ones that would... Oh, the Tennessee Titans at 4 taking Ruben Bain. We're familiar with his work.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds legit.
The Giants taking Carnell Tate.
Okay.
Let's see other ones that would make.
Give a receiver for their quarterback that they got last year.
Yeah. Let's see other ones that would. Jeremiah Love going number 9 to the Kansas City Chiefs. Familiar with his work as well, a couple years in a row.
Yeah, people say that they don't take running backs in the first round unless you think he's going to be great. And you know what? Giving Mahomes a better running game would certainly help.
10, the Bengals taking David Bailey.
Okay. Had a nice year for Texas Tech.
11, the Dolphins taking Mansour Delane from LSU.
Heck of a player.
Let's see. Cassius Howell, number 19, to the Carolina Panthers.
Pairing with Nick Scorton.
Yeah, how about that?
And is Damani Richardson still there, I wonder?
I believe he is. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yep. So, he's going to double check. But yeah, it had your Dallas Cowboys taking C.J. Allen from Georgia.
Actually, there's no way the Cowboys are going to draft C.J.
That would be too good of a pick.
It would make too much sense. If he's there,
they'll pass on him.
Of course you take him.
Yeah.
But they'll take some defensive lineman from Michigan who sucks because that's what they do.
I don't think you'll care about this one. The Eagles at 23 taking on Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon.
From Oregon. He's a nice player. And I guess Goddard is getting kind of up there in years.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So I could see that makes sense. But yeah, good.
The Browns at 24 taking Caden Proctor from Alabama.
I would not do that. I think Caden Proctor, just based on when I've watched him play, I think he's overrated.
And then the last one, for 20.
Seems like a nice person, though.
Yeah. Number 27, the San Francisco 49ers taking KC Concepcion.
See, I would hate that. It's kind of like when Anaya Smith was drafted by the Eagles. I'm like, oh, yeah, I really like Anaya. I can't root for a team. And, the Cowboys fans, you hate the 49ers. So I don't want to see KC Concepcion there. You know who needs to draft KC Concepcion?
Who's that?
KC.
That would be
KC and KC.
And
I told them, I said, you're the Missouri City, take the kid from Missouri City, and they didn't take Devon A-Chain. I bet they regret it now.
They do.
If somebody would just hire me as your player personnel director or general, I would get you a good team.
So what you're saying is Derek Miller should talk to you when he's picking his groceries for the team.
I'm just saying an NFL team.
Oh, NFL, okay. You've got it. You've got to figure it out.
I would have, if I was at the Cowboys.
Would you have Casey and the Sunshine Band perform at halftime?
Yeah, because that's the way, I like it. We're
going to move on from this topic. When we come back on TexAgs Live, I've got a football question for you that I think you're going to like.
Okay.
OB. All right.
Love talking football.
Where has A&M upgraded? Where are they as good or TBD? And I think there's a lot of TBD on this, but we'll talk about that on the other side. If your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, check out the Association of Former Students that brings Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, The Gathering. They welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand, which include title sponsorship naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition, social media posts, and much, much more. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner that's been with the organization supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorship@aggienetwork.com. It is the Association of Former Students.
You know this band?
Of course, the Doors. But I don't know why they call themselves the Doors. Is there a story behind it?
Probably thought it was a cool name.
Can we Google that, Nigrin? Just find out if there's like a reason that they're called the Doors. The Jim Morrisons. Great movie, by the way.
Didn't see it.
You didn't see it? Val Kilmer was fantastic. Hey, it's TexAgs Live. Promise. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, let's play the game as where has A&M upgraded? Or are they as good? Or TBD. The reason I bring this up is that they lost so much. And they lost in multiple ways. They lost not only talent, they lost veterans. They lost some leadership, right? And we won't know for a few months, right? We won't know for a long time.
We won't know for about 10 months, 9 months.
But for right now,
speculation
today. And we're going to feel a little bit better after spring ball about certain positions. We're not going to know it all, but we're going to feel a little better in certain areas. But let's start off with the obvious position. Where has A&M upgraded? Well, I don't know if they've upgraded at quarterback because they got the same quarterback, but they were as good at quarterback. He needs to take a step, we know.
I expect them to be better because I think in a second year as a full-time starter, quarterbacks usually get better. That's not always the case. Look at Lenore Sellers. Wasn't as good his second year as he was. There's others examples, but I give you a lot more examples of guys that got better with more experience. And quite frankly, if they call better plays in some instances, and I'm talking about when they're in the red zone. I know like at least one of Marcel's interceptions, the one against Auburn, never should have been called.
Yeah.
So I expect Marcel to be a better player next year from that experience. So yes, I do think they'll be upgraded at quarterback.
Offensive line.
I don't think they'll be as good. I don't see how you lose Chase Basantis and Trey Zuna especially, as well as Armage, and get better. I remember 10 years ago, I had an argument with somebody here that A&M's offensive line was going to be better in 2013 than it was in 2012. And I would say, without Luke Jokel and Patrick Lewis, you're going to get better? And it wasn't. But it still wasn't bad. You know, I mean, you still had good guys. So the decline the next year wasn't because of the offensive line. And so that's the key there. It's not going to be as good, I don't think, but it doesn't have to. You just don't want to have an LSU-like collapse.
Right. And it potentially could be as good, potentially, but I can't tell you that today.
I think a guy like Tyree Adams may get a lot better at A&M being coached by Adam Cushing than he was at LSU being coached by Brian Davis.
I agree. All right. Running back.
We talked about this.
This should be as good because you didn't have Le'Veon.
Right.
But you don't have the veterans either.
You only had Le'Veon for what, 5 games?
Yeah.
6 games? So if I said, hey, I have Le'Veon would make me better, but you got to look at the whole context. Le'Veon wasn't there all year.
Yeah, but also you don't have guys with a lot of experience.
Yeah, but you know what? To me, running back is the one area where a freshman can come in if you're asking him to carry the ball and just pick right up. I think the area that I'm going to be most concerned about is pass protection.
Yep.
But as far as guys carrying the ball, I think they'll be as good. And maybe even, as good.
I have them as good, hopefully. I put a dash.
But because would I rather have Le'Veon here? Yes. But again, like I think you brought that up. Le'Veon only played about half the year.
Yeah.
So if you put it in that context, and I'm really intrigued about what impact this kid from Carthage, KJ Edwards, is going to make, because he looks like this guy is he's a lightning bolt.
All right, we go now to wide receiver. We just had Casey Concepcion in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think you can lose KC and be as good. However, what if?
But it may be as good, different.
As good, different. You may be deeper. I think we agree we're going to be deeper. What if?
ABR may take a huge step. Terry Bussey may take these are Mays, I recognize.
And then you got Mario. The Horton kid, and what if Miles is healthy, and all of a sudden you have a 6'2" and a 6'4" guy out there that are very productive? Then I still don't know if you're as good without KC because I just have that much respect for KC, but is the difference that great?
Right.
So maybe as good, maybe.
But in all of this, I'm not saying emphatically because I haven't seen them together.
Right.
Tight end, I think you're better.
Yeah, well, definitely.
I think you've upgraded tight end.
As far as the passing game goes.
I think you've upgraded. Now, you take a loss with Nate Borkacher's toughness and ability to be like a Swiss Army knife. I know that
maybe Houston can be that guy.
I think Houston's going to, but I think Houston upgrades your ability to throw downfield.
And I got Richie. What's his name? Richie Cunningham.
Anderson.
Richie Anderson. I have to say, I don't know what kind of blocker he is. I did not watch a lot of Fresno State. As a matter of fact, I didn't watch any Fresno State last year.
Kicker?
Better.
Okay. Defensive line.
Because they're going to have 3 kickers next year.
Yeah. Defensive line. Before you answer defensive line.
Are you going to include is it interior
let's go
line or the whole defensive line?
Let's break it down as a group and
interior
then quickly.
And edge.
Right. But as a group, I'm going to say this. Last year at the same time, we were not sure they upgraded because you lost 3 dudes to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
True.
And I think they were better defensive line last year than they were the year prior.
Okay.
So we don't really know, because I think Coach Elko and the development that they have with Elijah, we don't know what's going to happen. Okay. So I just say that to you, that's a position.
They're going to be better coached.
I think they're going to be better coached. Yep. So what do you think? Maybe as good?
Are we saying edge is included?
Edge. I don't think edge is going to be as good.
Right.
As of today.
Okay. So if I'm saying the interior line, I think they will be.
It could be as good.
I think they could be as good. DJ Hicks, I'm finally going to be expecting him to be what he hadn't been bad. Don't get me wrong, but maybe he's going to, his last year, maybe he's going to just go out there and be a warhorse.
Yep.
But we didn't know what Tyler Onyedin was, and then he was really not a really good player. Well, C.J. Mims, and then the kid, the 3-name kid from Colorado,
right?
Swain.
Yeah.
Those guys become highly regarded. Now Swain was hurt last year, and then. Look, I was sold on Landon Rink, and I expect him to come out and be a better player as well as DJ Sanders. So, as sophomore. So, yes, I think they could be just as good, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say they're even better in the interior line next year. I don't think that's just being a Pollyanna approach and eternal optimist either. I think that's very realistic.
Linebacker. Maybe it's good.
Definitely more athletic.
Yeah,
I'm loving the kid from Tulsa.
Yeah,
from what I've seen from
Ray Coney.
But I am, and like every other position, I expect Damian Sanford to be better in his second year. I'll say this: they better be better.
Yeah,
because we can't have the misfits. It's not just on the linebackers, but that's where it starts. We can't have those with teams continuing to get 20+ yard gains.
Billy talked a little bit about this yesterday on his Ask Liucci. Maybe Elko and company need to just look at something that doing schematically.
Yeah, and Elko acknowledged that.
Let's go cornerback. It could be as good.
Okay, I'm going to say not as good. I know we can say that we expect Des Ricks to get better, and he may. But I can't sit here and say, look, I trumpeted how good Will Lee was for 4 years, for 2 years, talked about him being an all-SEC guy and all this, and say you're going to lose him and be better.
But, okay, a healthy Ricky Gibson?
A healthy Ricky Gibson, is he as good as Will Lee? I don't know. I know this. I talked about how really good Will Lee was for 2 years.
Yep.
I'm not going to say, hey, Will Lee was this, Will Lee was that. Oh, yeah, well, I see that too much in college football. Among fan bases, we lost. I remember one time I was talking to a guy who was telling me that Oklahoma was going to be better after Sam Bradford.
Yep.
And they were still okay with Landry Jones, but they weren't better. So I think it'd be disingenuous of us to say cornerback could be better when we've been talking about how great Will Lee was for 2 years.
Okay, and then safety?
Safety, I think, will be better.
I do too. I think Dalton Brooks is going to keep taking steps.
Yeah, Dalton Brooks. Hey, Dalton, just work harder on your tackling, and you're an NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe get on the jugs machine with the receivers.
And Tafik Byard, I'm excited about that.
I keep hearing he was Colorado's best defensive player, and Ratcliffe's back. So as well as Bryce Anderson to give you some depth. I think they'll be better at safety than they need to be.
All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back, we will do bank on it and maybe a little more unpacking of this topic. Right now, we're talking about Rollo Insurance. You get a personal agent, a direct number, not a call center. You get somebody's cell phone number that you can just reach out to at any time. They are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live. They are the difference, and they've got 60 offices here in the great state of Texas, and obviously their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. Whether it's home, auto or business, or ranch insurance, start a relationship with an expert who puts you first. Your agent becomes very familiar with your specific situation, providing a customized protection that mass market insurers simply cannot match. When you need advice or have a claim, you'll speak directly with someone who knows you by name. That's the Rollo difference. Check them out. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. What kind of fever is that?
Cat scratch fever.
What does that mean?
It's an actual thing. It's an actual.
What is it? Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's
not my community doesn't talk about that.
It's I'd have to go back and look at it. I mean, you used to know because this song was real popular. Was that I was a sophomore at Crowley High School,
Yeah.
and Ted Nugent came to the Tarrant County Convention Center. My mom wouldn't let me go. I was pissed. But I remember looking up because everybody was talking about it. It was such a big song, and it's actually a real thing. Now, it's not kind of like the way he's
Cat Scratch Fever. Have you ever heard of that other than
it's
the
like
song?
maybe like if,
Nick? No? Yes? Maybe? Catch?
No.
it's a real thing, though.
Reese?
Nope.
No. It's like a real thing?
Yeah. I mean,
Cat scratch fever.
yeah.
Can't say.
Does like cat scratch you to get the fever?
I
Or
don't
is it
know.
just
Because it actually has
You're asking the
symptoms.
wrong
I'm
guy.
looking.
yeah? Let me know. The more you know, as they say.
It's starts with a bump or blister at the scratch site, followed by fever, headache, fatigue, poor appetite, often swollen tender lymph nodes.
I don't think I'll ever use that.
Yeah,
And-
I just got a scratch. I think is what I'd say. Anyway, or I got bit by something. Shall we bank on something, OB? Brought to you by Vera Bank.
Vera Bank. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to bank on.
What are you banking on?
I'm banking on at least 4 3-pointers from Ruben Dominguez. You
God,
know what?
why did you take mine?
He's hit 4 3-pointers in each of the last 4 games. And he's been in double figures, scored at least 13 points in each of the last 5 games. So he's Mr. Consistency. I wish he had hit 5 against Tennessee, but I'm looking for him to come back against Texas and hit at least 4 and maybe even more.
Pop Isaacs returns and he didn't go anywhere. He just didn't have the best end of the game. I think he's going to have a quality performance. I'm banking on him scoring 16 against Texas.
Isn't that what he had against Tennessee?
Yeah, but it's better finish.
Yeah, okay.
16 with a better finish.
He won't need 2 overtimes to get there.
Yeah. And I'll throw in one more. Jakari Lane, back-to-back, really good
That
games.
would be nice to see.
Yeah. Let's go. OB, thank you, sir.
All right, you bet.
When we come back on TexAgs Live, we're going to pound the rock, Tap and Luke, here in studio, talking a little Aggie basketball. We'll get to the women as well. And then at 10 o'clock, our friend Billy Liucci. Ryan O'Brien stopping by in a little while as well. It's TexAgs Live. Welcome back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the show. It's time to pound the rock with Luke Evangelist and Tap Bentz. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hola.
That's not a good hello.
Hello.
Yours was fine. Yours was not very good. Hi, Luke.
Hello, David.
Hey, good to see you.
Well, he was thinking he was going to call it in today, on his way in.
So, state of the team. That's how I like to start off these conversations. Where are we? How do we feel? What's the good vibes, the bad vibes? Where are we? Tap, you start us off.
I can't lie. I was out of town in Orlando at business meetings and caught the last 5 minutes of the regulation and then the 2 overtimes. And again, I pick it up. We're winning, and so I'm like, hey, look at this! What a win this is going to be. And then it comes down to making free throws, and if we make a 1 or 2 down the end, and I like the fact that they're still playing their style. Listening to Logan a little bit yesterday made me really start scratching my head because ever since I got into basketball, people said pressing teams don't like to be pressed, and I want to go why? And I started trying to think why, because I know when I coached high school, I felt like I was a pressing team, but we could break a press very easily too because I worked on it.
Because you practice it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And so again, but I think it's also the conditioning and, so it's either way. So if teams are, and again, Rick Barnes has been around a while, he knows, hey, back off, go get them, back off, go get them, and can feel the momentum of the game. But it comes down to it. And, there was one time I think Pop caught the ball in the backcourt, and I thought he played a great game, what I saw. And he kind of waved people down, and they came and fouled him. I'm like, okay, great. He wants the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then he hits the front, the front of the rim. But if you want the ball, you better step up and do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it sounds like Tap turning the game on was it was
the
all
problem.
It was all downhill. For
Yeah.
me.
Thanks, Tap.
So I don't know if you're allowed to watch.
That's fine by me. No, I'll be watching Saturday.
Everything he said is you're encouraged that was a really bad matchup for A&M, and they were still in it, and they should have won that game. But this is now the second game in a row. I mean, how long has it been since they lost the game in regulation? Like the SMU game and the Tennessee game, second loss in a row where it really should have been a win, and losing it in ways that you wouldn't imagine for this team. Like against SMU, they turn it over a bunch of times because of the pressure, and then against Tennessee, they lose it at the free throw line and on the defensive glass. 2 things that are basics of basketball. We all know box out on a free throw and make your free throws. And if A&M does that, they win. And it would have been as close to a program-changing win as you could get. Like we saw the Auburn win, and all that did for the momentum of this team. Going on the road and beating a top 25 Tennessee would have done even more wonders, and you would have looked up at A&M being in sole possession of first place in the SEC at 4-0, which in a rebuilding year, I don't think anybody would have ever expected that, but they were couple free throws and a box out and grabbing a rebound away for making that happen.
Going back to the box outs, do you think Bucky's statement after, and y'all may have said this earlier this week, when he said, play like a football, like it was his way of telling the officials, y'all are like, you can't let people just run over guys in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, the level of physicality that Tennessee was allowed to play with versus what A&M was, you can go find the video of Ruben just getting completely shoved in the back on one of those final
But you know
rebounds.
what? I don't blame Tennessee for that.
No.
Yeah, you can't leave it in the hands of the officials. If Pop makes his free throws, if Jakari doesn't miss 2 in a row, if Ruben makes the front end of a 1-and-1 with like 5 minutes left, there were multiple free throws down the stretch where you have guys at the line that shoot over 85%. I'm not even blinking. Like if Pop is at the line, I'm assuming he's at least getting 2 out of 3, most likely 3 out of 3. If Jakari's at the line, he's missed 1 free throw all year. Him missing 2 in a row is unfathomable. And Ruben,
the announcer just said, he's shooting 91%.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
that's what happens. Yeah,
now
exactly.
I know.
So, guys, I'm not saying A&M's a bad team, so please don't, what I'm about to say, I'm going to reference bad teams. I'm not going to say that. But bad teams don't always get blown out. Bad teams find ways to lose games. I'll go back to 22 A&M football, 5-7. How many of those games came down to a possession, right? Or 3 or less, or 3 or more points, right? And in that game, when you put a team together the way this team had to, right? Like, I feel like as unfathomable as it was to lose the game the way they did, that's what happens when you have a new team trying to figure out their real identity. They play with an identity, but they haven't come to full realization on the court yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's not just A&M. I mean, that's just college basketball all year. Like, if you take a look around Like, I just saw Stanford go on a 13-0 run at the end of the game to beat top 20 North Carolina. Missouri and Auburn came down to the final possession. Ole Miss beat Georgia in overtime on a buzzer beater. Kentucky needed a full court pass and a buzzer beater to beat LSU. Like, that's just the margins in the league this year. They're super small. Winning on the road is going to be nearly impossible, which is why that loss stings even more, because A&M would be the only team with 2 quad 1A road wins in league play. I would have to go back and check. They might have been the only team with 2 road wins, period, in SEC play. Like, that's just how hard it's going to be to win games on the road. So they have also won games that they shouldn't at the last moment. Like, they closed out the LSU game. LSU had plenty of chances to win that game. They closed out the Auburn game. They closed out the Pitt game. Like, right now you're seeing a team that is just living in the margins of college basketball. They've won a couple games at the end. They've lost a couple games at the end. That's just what it's going to come down to, and especially in SEC play, I think people just need to be prepared of this team losing in some excruciating ways at the end and then winning in some exhilarating ways on the final possession.
It's just, to me, it's also the style doesn't translate to the last 5 minutes. And again, Bucky may still be saying push, 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 but he's not on the floor. Because there's been times I felt like maybe they started milking the clock, but it's that the players, because they've been taught their whole lives, hey, you're up 4 minutes, don't make a mistake, and not to say they're playing not to win, but it's just the way I think part of it is. And let's go back to, are we frustrated? Yeah, but big picture, we didn't expect this to be right here.
I mean, I was telling everybody before the game, I'm like, they were going to lose by 20. That was a horrible matchup for them. There's only 2 teams in this league that can physically overpower them and make them look like they've never grabbed a rebound before, and it's Tennessee and Florida. And for a minus 25 rebounding margin, you're expecting a minus 20 point differential to go along with that. And A&M found enough ways to turn Tennessee over, to make enough threes, to make that a 1 and 2 possession game. They should have won the game, absolutely, but that was a really encouraging sign that they can play against a style that should have completely overpowered their small ball and found enough within their own style to make up for it.
You guys remember, maybe it was 10 days ago, maybe, that we're like, this is the part of the schedule that A&M could make some hay. Like, there's a little bit of a depth. And now you look at Texas, they have figured out they've beaten 2 quality teams. They're going to be at home. And, so it goes back to your point earlier, these SEC games, the margins are so thin.
Right.
But Texas isn't as... It was never for sure anyway, especially with where A&M is. But it looks a lot harder now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a couple days ago, even before they beat Alabama, Texas looked dead. I mean, Sean Miller benched his entire starting lineup in the second half. I think, they lost in overtime to Mississippi State. They got blown out by Tennessee, and Sean Miller benched all of his starters. And that was, I guess, the turning point, because now they're looking down the barrel of an 0-4 start, and they go and upset Alabama and Vanderbilt. That's why you want to have a win like Tennessee, and you want to have a win against Auburn, because sometimes you're going to run into a really hot team. That's Texas right now. But at the same time, I think even Texas fans are waiting for like the slipper to fall off.
Right.
Because the way that they're shooting the ball right now is like the law of averages will even out at some point. And still, that game now went from, all right, that's a toss-up game, to, man, you might be playing one of the hottest teams in the country on the road right now. It would have been really nice to have another win in your back pocket from earlier this year.
But you can't.
Weekend.
You don't. You
can't.
It, right?
So now this makes it even more important, and we know we don't have to revisit the house of horrors that is A&M basketball playing in Austin. They've won 1 time in my lifetime. This now becomes, for all the pageantry that is the rivalry, for all the stakes that come from 2 completely new teams, 2 coaches who've never been in it. Now it becomes a really important game for both teams that are just on the edge of the bubble. A win would do wonders for either one's resume.
Yeah, you got to give Sean Miller credit, so don't take me off the air here. He's a good coach. He had the guts to go, you know what, you're not playing well, sit out.
Yeah.
And that sends a message. And I'm sure Bucky's done that throughout his career at certain times.
Yeah, he did that to Fetty this year. He still hasn't recovered from that.
Yeah, and so it's just how much of a competitor you are. Are you going to do it, or are you going to start already calling schools and saying, hey, this is where I want to come next year in today's day and age? And let's not forget, though, there's a lot more video out there of A&M too and what they do. I mean, it's not complicated,
right?
But I'm sure people are now with all the way they break down film and everything. Okay, coaches get into familiarity with themselves. I don't know how much they scout themselves over there, but I'm sure, hey, if this happened, this is what Bucky's going to call, and that happens often in football and all sports. And so the more video, the more games A&M plays, it's going to be more difficult because teams are going to know how to attack us.
Yeah, that's kind of what Bucky has told me before, is that as the year goes on, styles are going to be neutralized because teams are going to figure out your plays. Teams are going to know what you want to do. And at the end of the year, it's talent that wins those games. And so you look at an A&M team that needs their style to win games. That's why stacking these wins early on in the schedule before you have to go face like Texas at home. You got to go play at Alabama, at Vanderbilt. The back half of that schedule is really nasty. And so you got to stack as many wins as you can right now.
Luke, I feel like Bucky gets it. When I mean it, this rivalry, this weekend, this matchup, not to make it bigger than it needs to be, but everything I've seen from Bucky, his time on the show, he just seems to get A&M and the importance of what this game could be.
Yeah, he knows that, you could go 2-4, you could go 2-16, and if those 2 wins are Texas, people would say it was a successful year one.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
No, but he knows how much that game means. Like this is a kid that he grew up in Alabama. There's a massive rivalry between Alabama and Auburn. Like he doesn't need to be told what.
No, but I think he's
means.
Integrated himself into A&M's culture. Quickly.
He absolutely was. He has. He knows exactly what this rivalry means. He's got guys on staff like Darby Rich and Frank Haith who have been on both sides of it. Jamie Vincent was on the other side. Chris McDermott was here last year. There are players in that locker room, and there's coaches who know exactly what A&M stands for and knows what this rivalry means to the fan base. And so, you're absolutely right. He gets it.
I still go back to the first game of the season, home game of the season, and we're doing it for the SEC Network Plus. And the players came out and they start doing the war hymn. And I remember watching the players when they're in the layup line, just looking at the crowd, like amazed that they were doing that for them.
Yeah.
They were they'd gone to the football games and probably got involved. But to me, that told me, okay, they're bought in to A&M.
Yeah, well, and I don't want to make this weekend bigger than it is because it's big. But I told OB earlier in the show, like, just considering the way the last 14, 15 months, longer, all the way to the Schloss Gate, like, we got to get some more wins against this program.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what the standings are right now in the Lone Star Showdown, but A&M's got a decent lead. They won both cross countries, they won volleyball, lost football, but I want to say it's like 4-1 or 5-1.
And we split in volleyball, right?
Did they count that game though in the
they
SEC
didn't
tournament?
count the SEC tournament. Yeah. Either way, A&M's got a lead, and so I know obviously this game means a lot for A&M basketball, but for the school as a whole to be competitive in that trophy that ultimately you're playing for, winning 2 in men's basketball would go a long way towards that.
Yeah, because unfortunately you're not going to win one in women's basketball.
I didn't want to say that on air, but
we're going to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, we will, and unfortunately we'll get back to it.
Yeah. Jakari Lane. What are we? I feel like I bring him up to you all the time, Luke.
Yeah.
He had a really nice game.
He did.
But I see something in him that this team needs, and when he's good, it makes everything around him better.
Yeah, he's a really great pick and roll operator, and when A&M, like, let's be honest, they struggle more to score in the half court than in the full court. Like, they want to push and score in transition. So when things get settled in the half court, typically that kind of just results in a high ball screen and maybe somebody's open on the wing. Like, if they're not running plays, the ball being in the point guard's hands is A&M's offense, and they're looking to pick and roll. They're looking to find shooters. Really, you don't see much cutting, and so that puts a lot of pressure on a guy like Jakari Lane or Pop Isaacs who have the ball in their hands. And Jakari had 9 assists. Like, not a lot of people are talking about it because the 2 free throws he missed down the stretch were really important, but I still think he had, 14 or 15 and 9. Like, that was one of his better performances of the year all around. And you're asking a lot of him on the defensive end. I thought he really stepped up against Oklahoma defensively on Nigel Pack, but yeah, I've loved what I've seen from Jakari, and he's come a long way.
And I'm not sure that they probably had him penciled in as the starter. I don't really remember when first time I talked to Bucky. He said a few things about Jakari, but he said it's going to be a big transition for him. And really, he talked about the other guards more than he did Jakari, and there came Jakari, just like I said last time, I'm coming out to do my business. You're not going to see excitement. You're not going to see disappointment. And he's done a great job, and the ball's in his hand a lot, you know.
That was a beautiful
but
pick.
it has to be. But I also think, you know, when he's at the point guard, he's still a pass first, shoot second guy, you know. But like you said, he penetrates. He should get to the lane because everybody's going to guard the shooters out on the perimeter.
Yeah, his 3-point shot's not really falling right now. He's a career 40% shooter, but it's not. Like in SEC play, I need to go look at his stats, but he might be shooting like 20%. So, but he's doing all of that, and he's still putting up numbers without having that 3-pointer going for him. And so when he figures that out, I think that's another really dangerous weapon for this backcourt.
When a game goes into double overtime, you expect people to be in foul trouble, right? But I feel like, and Bookie talked about it after the game, as they started accumulating these fouls, it did change the way they played defensively afterwards.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that, like trying to avoid getting yourself in a bad position, especially on the road.
Yeah, you saw it start to turn once Aggie put up his 4th foul. Like from 5 minutes left in the game in regulation all the way throughout overtime, I mean, Aggie couldn't defend. Like if they got it, Tennessee was like, wait, we have all this size, why don't we just go inside? And then they used it. Like it took Rick Barnes 35 minutes to figure that out. If I'm another team, I'm literally trying to get Rashawn Aggie in foul trouble as fast as possible. I'm going at him every single possession. And that's probably what Texas is going to do. They've got a 7-footer who's playing some incredible basketball right now, but foul trouble and health are the 2 most important things to this team. If you get in foul trouble, especially in the front court, like things are going to get dicey. I don't know if you can rely on Federico to play 25 minutes. And so Rashawn Aggie, especially staying out of foul trouble, is the biggest key for this team.
Yeah, because I'm sure Jamie Vincent will be a little amped up, going this. Yeah. But again, so is that going to help? But really, he's good for like 3-minute, 4-minute bursts, and then, little stints, and then go right back out.
Yeah, got to stay healthy, got to stay out of foul trouble.
OB brought up Tremont Mark and his ability to kill the Aggies. He's not the only one that's really good on that roster.
He's older than you, David.
I'm not that old, Luke.
Right.
I'm in my
30s.
20s. 30s.
Yeah, I mean, Tremont Mark is an A&M killer. He's done it at Houston. He did it at Arkansas. We don't need to relive what he did in Austin last year. And they have some killers on that roster, and they had the talent, they had the continuity. It just didn't click for them, and now you're starting to see it click.
Clicking. I mean, Tremont, he's a good coach. He's a really good coach.
Like you knew it was going to happen eventually, and it just happened to happen right before you play A&M. But Tremont Mark is averaging 20 a game in SEC play. They've got Swain, who is getting NBA buzz. Jordan Pope almost came to A&M. Like we don't need to revisit how talented Texas' roster is because A&M fans already know it. Weaver is still there. Like there are pieces from that team that A&M was the more talented team last year, and you still couldn't beat them twice. Like those Texas players know what it takes to beat A&M, and so it's a tall task.
Well, it goes back to the styles, and again, Sean Miller's a good coach. He's broken this down, and I'm sure there's been that assistance. But hey, when they were playing poorly, it was like, we got to beat A&M. Probably was said 3 weeks ago, so they probably done more scouting and research on A&M than most of the other teams. But it just goes back to who's not going to be overwhelmed by the situation, because some of these players that may never have played in a rivalry such as this on both sides, and so who's going to just relax and play their style of ball is most important, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah, this Texas team is almost built like A&M from last year. They're old, top 15 offensive rebounding. Nobody gets to the free throw line more than them, but they've got imagine A&M last year, but on a really hot shooting streak. That's the team you're having to play. They're playing like a top 15 team right now, and I don't think the rebounding margin is going to be as egregious as the Tennessee game, but you have to find a way to neutralize on the glass and not just let them go down and get 2 free throws every time.
Tap, from a coaching perspective, how does A&M neutralize that size and use their speed to an advantage?
I mean, what they've been doing and try to do, and basically their whole thing, because you can't, Rashawn Agee is not going to grow 4 inches, but he's got to be smart and not give up an early. I know you want to set the tone, but you know what? You're more valuable later, so I can't have you just take a cheap foul early on just to prove a point. Nobody's going to get to the hole. But they just have to, get that turnovers and maybe amp up that full court. there's different levels of the pressure that they give. And it seems like once they kind of turn it up all the way to 11 on the 10-point thing, other teams struggle. He just may have to do that earlier on.
Yeah, it's going to be a game of runs. And for A&M, it's can we get another 11-0 run? Can we get another 8-0 run at a crucial moment? And you have to be able to turn up that pressure. Not a lot of people are talking about how A&M's defense is rated higher than their offense for the first time all year. I think that speaks a lot of volumes about how far they've come in the half court, and they're going to need to play their best game defensively to slow down Texas.
Tap, stick around and talk some women's basketball.
Sure.
Luke, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, if you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning with investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, the CPA, all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 693-3907. That is 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Going to continue our basketball conversation with Tat Bentz as we transition to the women's side. Woo! What a rough one we just saw.
It was, and there's no doubt, and it doesn't get any easier, as we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, when you go into Texas, who's just lost their last 2 games to LSU, and then South Carolina, which are, is not easy. The other two top teams in the conference, but I still say, and I watching the Vanderbilt game, I was more impressed with Vanderbilt than I really was disappointed with A&M, because I was shocked at how well. Not only were they good offensively, but it was just their team defense that blew me away.
Yeah,
and and it's hard. I know, for Nicira Pryor, yes, she's our true point guard, but she can't play 40 minutes. I mean, really, no one that can playing at this level, and so somebody else has got to step up on that team to be able to help her, so she can take a couple of breaks and not feel like all the pressure's on her.
Yeah. So you mentioned it's about to get tough. I'm just going to kind of read it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So they just lost to, and I think these rankings are up to date, number 5 Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
They go to number 4 Texas. Then they host number 6 LSU. That's the little stretch that they're in the middle of right now.
But to me, I watched the LSU South Carolina game. They're not going to get backcourt pressure really from LSU. So you can get in there. They're, even going to Texas this week, there's not really a 3-point shooter on that Texas team, so pack it in. There's ways, and that's what I going into the Vanderbilt game, I said, Joni does such a good job on defense that it's just the offense is struggling. Well, Vanderbilt just came out because they had those shooters that we took away our defensive help. They penetrate, they find that open person every time. It was similar to a game years ago after Coach Blair brought Connecticut in with Gino and them. And let me tell you, I thought, okay, A&M's pretty good this year. And they just blew us off the court.
Just a different world.
Yeah. And but they just knew, and Shea Ralph was the coach for Vandy, who played during that era. And it's just this motion offense where they know if I do this, this person's doing this. And it's not, and they were making blind passes, backdoor passes. And I was just like, okay, this is what that reminded me of. Where I think LSU, Texas are going to be playing more of the traditional, bring it down, we want to get it to the post player and do this kind of things, reverse the basketball, which I think will fit our defensive scheme a little bit better also.
It feels like the Florida game was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice win. It wasn't that long ago. It's been 8 days.
Yeah. Well, and that was a great win because we just had a horrible loss at Georgia, and that's the one that probably everybody's, kicking themselves about. But this team is so much better than last year. And I know people, it couldn't get much worse. But just the talent out there, and just similar to the men, they're still trying to figure out who each other's is and are, and who can we go to in crunch time, and you would think it's Nye, but people know we're going to back off a Nye and challenge her to take a 3-point shot. Now she gets that mid range, she's deadly off the dribble, and she can get to the hole. I still would love to see Fats, look to take people off the dribble a little bit more. Now, my concern is, Lauren Ware, they pulled her 2 minutes into the game. I haven't heard because I've been out of town, so I don't know what Lauren's status is going to be. But, they're a much better team just because Lauren's such a leader of that team. She's very vocal on the floor. And so I think without Lauren playing her typical 20 minutes, 25 minutes, they were kind of looking like, okay, who's supposed to be talking right now?
What's a realistic ceiling, you think? Based on when they're good, they're really good.
Yeah.
And when, they run into a Vanderbilt, they're not so good.
Yeah. Earlier on, especially with some of their pre-conference wins, I said, heck, if they go 500, they got a legitimate chance. But now, like you said, people are going to remember what they look like against Vanderbilt, so they're going to have to come up. But like I said, I think they have some opportunities to play some teams that fit more of their style as far as what they do offensively that A&M can combat. I think sometimes they struggle kind of with that just motion. Wait, I'm supposed to come here and help. Well, I still got a shooter out there,
right.
And so I have all the confidence in Joni and her staff getting that fixed. And so far this season, they pretty much have. Every time there was something in one game, it was different the next. But, I'm hoping, like I said, that the styles that they're playing are going to be a little bit better for them.
So I mentioned this stretch, just so you understand, there's after this stretch of Texas, LSU, they got a game against Missouri, then another stretch begins of at number 13, Oklahoma, hosting number 2, South Carolina, and number 21 Alabama, number 7 Kentucky. So like it's just the hits keep on coming.
No, and that's the conference though. You're not going to get a break now. I thought except for one quarter they played Oklahoma pretty well.
Yeah.
Last time. So, but if you're going on the road, Norman. But you have that opportunities. But they have again. I go back to the video. Hey, this is what we did well against them. This is what they stopped us on.
So, if they can steal one, I say steal because it's what it feels like of these next 2. Kind of feeling good about where they are.
I mean, again, I think 9 win, 500 still the thing, and then you hopefully win a conference tournament game.
Yeah.
It's up to them, because there are no everything's going to be a steal. I think every time you go on the road, every team feels like we got to steal one. Now Vanderbilt certainly played like they didn't have to steal when they felt like they were playing at home.
And I've said this, and people who don't watch a lot of the women's games, they see the score against Vandy and they think one thing. This is a better brand of basketball than we've seen the last couple of years.
Oh, no doubt. The players are better. The coaching staff I feel like is better this year. And and unfortunately for the women's team, the bandwagon drop off is quick.
Yeah.
You win 2 games, great. Then all of a sudden Vanderbilt game now
back out.
Yeah, and maybe if we would have been playing Texas home, you might have gotten people there because it was Texas. But people are very willing. I mean, just like volleyball in years past. Before this year, next year, I mean, we could feel Kyle Field probably to watch a volleyball game.
Well, hopefully we do.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough, but Joni, I think, is the person to do it.
Tap, thank you, buddy.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you. When we come back, Ryan O'Brien will be here in studio. Right now, we're talking Milliken Reserve, a farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. And let's talk about the neighborhoods at Milliken Reserve. They're nothing like your typical subdivisions, based entirely in that Brazos Valley landscape and heritage, closely linked to the land with deep Texas roots. There's no place like Milliken Reserve. The neighborhoods are awesome. You got the creek, homes on 10-plus acre wooded estates. You've got the hollow in a private and gated community, and the homes in the meadows are responsive to those natural surroundings. Milliken Reserve is rooted in Texas soil. If it sounds like a place for you, what you need to do is check them out. You can learn more at millikenreserve.com. Remember, when you go there, you can go hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking. They've got the equestrian trails. They've got the evening yoga, the summer camps, the music festivals, the farmer market tours, and much, much more. Check out the website again. That's millikenreserve.com. That website is millikenreserve.com. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Ryan O'Brien is in studio. My buddy, when he's here, we talk kids, we talk life, we talk about everything. What's going on, man?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah.
How's everything?
Good. Things are good. So, which game was it that you did the post-game show?
It was the second to the game before Texas.
So it was the
Samford
game.
Sanford, yep. Yeah,
Okay.
Sanford, yeah.
So things don't look so pretty since then, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think so. I'm optimistic.
No, but I mean, it's just the last 8 quarters were not the best brand of football for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
what do you think happened?
I don't know. I think it's tough to maintain that level of success throughout the entire season. I think they also lacked probably depth in the throughout their roster, and I think that caused some issues. It's tough. It's tough. I think as I was watching, I like to watch the Miami game after the fact. I still do.
So you've gone back to watch the A&M Miami game.
Yeah. I think it's aged better than what we thought when the game was going on.
Yeah.
To see how well Miami played, I think that we honestly could have gotten beaten worse by Miami. I think there's different factors that happened. I think they're ultra talented in the fronts, which I think that was a huge disparity between the two teams, in my opinion.
Which is interesting because that's what I thought A&M for the most part of the season they built their reputation, their season on the in the trenches.
Yeah. I think we lack those twitchier, bigger twitchier guys.
Yeah.
I think like O-line wise, I think they did a great job, but I think compared to Miami's front, they really couldn't compare to how athletic, how big, how physical they were. We really wasn't able to run the ball at all. Which I don't think it was scheme. I really think it was just the players, in my opinion, at that point. And you can see how talented Miami's front is now. They were able to run over Ohio State, Ole Miss. So I think it aged better, I think, than how we felt initially. Because I think initially we thought Miami wasn't really
worthy.
Worthy. But just watching the game, I really think if the factors such as, you know how windy it was?
Yeah.
So Miami really wasn't able to throw the ball much. They were forced to run, and they did that. If they were able to include the pass game that they've been doing against Ohio State and Ole Miss, it might have been like a little bit worse, I think, in my opinion. But
that windiness affected A&M too.
It affected A&M too. We probably would have been able to throw the ball as well. I just personally think we faced a team that was better than the Ole Miss and Oregon and Texas Tech played.
Absolutely.
You know, so we got kicked out first, but
to a team that might win it all.
Yeah, they got a really good opportunity. I mean, Indiana is unbelievable, but you know, Miami, they have the front to on both sides of the ball to compete against anybody, as we've seen.
Where does your optimism come from? Is it you're just an optimistic person, or is it because Coach Elko has shown you something? Because this is going to be a different roster.
Right. Yeah. I think with the NIL, college football has changed drastically. I think instead of looking at teams in a 2 to 4 year bubble, I think we only can look at teams from year to year.
Okay.
You know, and I think A&M, they have returning talent. But I think what's more important is like how they're implementing the culture to the freshmen and to the transfers that are coming in. And I think as you go into the next college football season, how will those transfers for other teams be implemented into culture? Like you see like Indiana, like I'm sure they probably have 50 or 60 new transfers over the past 2 years. But the head coach and the rest of the coaching staff has done a great job of implementing their culture to all the players and make them blend in. So I think each year, A&M does a really good job of having the Elko culture of their identity. We're going to be hard-nosed. We're going to make sure we hit people in the mouth. We're going to be able to run the ball. We're going to be able to stop the run as identity markers, right? And then I think offensively, being able to throw the ball downfield is a new identity that A&M has. You know, picking up that kid from Alabama, and then with Mario as well. I think that's going to be their identity for us pass game wise is we're going to try to stretch the field. And I think implementing that into those new players, I think they're gonna be fine, in my opinion. Yeah.
Ryan, when you lose veterans and the culture, hopefully what you said is all happens, right? Coach Elko has his and I believe it to be the case. How do people step up to become? You've been in locker rooms before where there's been a change in the guard, right? Like is it just next man up? How does somebody seize control of leadership or being a veteran presence?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One, you have to show, right? So I think captains are bred right now when we don't see them in the weight room. What are they doing on the workout field? Like when spring ball is going to be critical for us developing who's going to stand up and be those captains. And then once you show, then we need verbal. We need people who can literally talk to each other and to be like, hey, we're not going to lose this game, or hey, we got to lock in and those types of things. But you got to be able to show first. So I personally feel that Elko and the rest of his crew, Moffitt is huge culture builder. One of my coworkers, he's a former LSU player, and he speaks so highly of Moffitt. And just watching him work, on the sideline, I think he's a huge culture builder, and he helps to get those players going as well. I think it's no coincidence how the success that's happened. I think he has a huge part to play in that.
All right, so Monday, who's going to win it, Miami or Indiana?
My head says Indiana.
Yeah. Your heart says Miami.
My heart will like Miami because I think it'll be good for A&M just to see like, oh man, we've come this close. I like both teams honestly, but I do think Indiana probably will take it.
So let me tell you why I think your optimism is refreshing, because I get hung up on the last 8 quarters of football, and I focus on that more. And the reality is, football is a long, long season, and you only got 12 chances or 13 chances for A&M this year to prove who you really are. But I think it's kind of the timing. Like, for instance, if A&M would have lost to Texas, but that game would have played the 4th week of the season, I think they're one of your top 4 seeds. Same schedule, same everything, but you just kind of changed the placement. It's because those last 8 quarters happened differently.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that. They could have also lost to South Carolina. I mean, that quarterback could have got hurt.
So really 10 out of 12 quarters, that's so good at the end, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel like they maximized the talent that they had on the team. This is the 2nd year of the program. That's very tough. I know Indiana is showing us that you can flip a roster really fast, but it's tough. I mean, it's very challenging to do that. We were blessed to not have the starting quarterback get hurt, or our offensive linemen, so those main guys, because we would have, or our main rushers get hurt. I mean, that's a part of it as well. Yeah. Keeping people healthy. I would be optimistic. I mean, I think I heard on the show the other day, it's like, if you would have told us we would have been 11-1 in the regular season, everybody would have signed up for it.
Heck
so, it's all good.
So you got some new curriculum coming up. Talk to us about what you got going on.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is bridge the gap between middle school athletics to high school varsity, right? And it's a huge gap. Our middle school coaches, they work so hard, but they just don't have all the resources or the time to develop our young 12, 13, 14-year-olds for us, their minds, you know what I mean, the expertise for us, lifts, movement skills. So I want to bridge that gap. What I'm going to do is called Grit Academy. It's basically calling all 12 to 15-year-olds, and we're going to do a cohort where we'll walk through 9 months of how to be a grittier student athlete. So you can be ready for the rigors of varsity sports. Being a varsity coach for 6 years, co-offensive coordinator, and I've seen it all. Also playing in high school, playing in college, I've seen it, so I'll be able to give those mentorships to the kids. Also, able to help them with their explosive lifting, our speed and agility movements as well be locked in, but we'll be in a cohort. So we'll be moving together. like 15, 20 kids, and we'll be meeting for 9 months, and when they're finished, they'll be ready to go for varsity.
How does somebody sign up?
Yeah, you go to my website, ryanobriant.com, and you'll see it says Grit Academy. Have a cool promo video about it as well. We had a grit workshop a couple weeks ago with some local sub-varsity athletes, and so you can see that on my website as well. So yeah.
People don't realize, like kids develop at their own pace, right? Some people develop late.
Right.
I developed late if I developed at all. But these formidable years, this 12 to 15, really can set the tone for what your varsity year looks like.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of times when they get to like 16, 17 years old and they're on the varsity level, it's kind of too late to get those foundational movements, foundational lifts, mindset wise, because a lot of times those kids are already there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's you got to be able to get it early, the mental side, in order for you to be successful, because the rigors of being a student athlete, you know, practicing early in the morning or late at night, being able to do your homework, getting your grades together, that's tough. And then you're dealing with just the pressures of dating, all those different things. You need certain systems in place so you don't fall. Yeah.
Ryan, I appreciate it, man. Great work.
Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate
We'll get you here soon, all right?
Yes, sir.
Ryan
Yes,
O'Brien
sir.
here on TexAgs Live. We'll let a break. We'll come back with On TexAgs Today. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. When you're looking for a new vehicle, it can be a very stressful process. What you should do is start your search and look online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. They've got a growing inventory that changes all the time. Month to month, they have new deals as well. Their inventory, though, continues to get bigger and better, and they are south of those big city prices. What you see is what you pay, and their locally owned Aggie alumni team, they're going to roll out that red carpet for you to make sure that you have the best car buying experience that you can imagine. And they have just an incredible team that puts it all together. You're going to love it. Every vehicle comes with that guarantee that you're going to get free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Their pre-owned inventory is moving fast, so that means you're going to get top dollar for your trade-in. Take advantage of it right now. About a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryant to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, the Rollo Insurance Studio. What's going on TexAgs today?
We have all sorts of things.
How do you know I was going to ask you?
What? Because we were talking about it at the break.
Oh, that's why. He's at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
I've used some context clues here. So on TexAgs, we do have the transfer portal tracker. Today is the last day for portal entries. News has kind of slowed down, but Ryan Broninger and the rest of the staff keeping you updated on there. We have Ask Liucci. Billy answers all your questions about the portal, next year's roster, and the new staff's identity. We have interviews with Ruben Dominguez and Bear Harrison. Dominguez highlights his hot shooting start to SEC play and getting his first taste of
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
Little disheartened, a little upset, a little perturbed. The Luke Evangelist has not once invited me to talk to Ruben Dominguez. I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion that we would probably be really good friends.
Yeah, I feel like he should at least give you the opportunity.
It's been, you should interview him. But I don't hear anything about basketball interviews, anything anymore.
No,
there was a time I did a lot of them.
Keeps it to himself.
God.
Pretty selfish. Interviews with Bear Harrison, previews the upcoming season, what the pitching staff has shown him so far this offseason, and then things to look for later today. We have Olin's advance for the basketball game, Luke's keys to the game, and Tom Schuber's scouting report. Over the weekend, we will have live and post-game coverage, as well as some more pre-game coverage from Evangelist, Olin, and Schubert, as well as pre-live and post-game coverage of the women's game from Kay Nagley.
All right, here's the deal. We're going to hit a break. We're going to come back at 10 o'clock. We're going to tap dance. Then we'll talk to Billy Liucci.
There we go.
All right. And we got a lot of football things to get into with Billy. We got some basketball things to get into with Billy. And I'll probably get into the national championship game, which falls into the football category, but I'm thinking more A&M football first. We'll get into that. That and more. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We believe we'll have Billy Liucci at some point to talk about Billy Liucci things. Anyway, until then, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Censor. Nigel, kind of quiet, but I don't want to say this story was undercover because it was out there, but I think people are reacting to this gambling story a little differently.
Yeah.
Kind of catch us up, and then I'm going to respond to it.
Yeah, so there was an investigation launched yesterday into potential point shaving occurring during 6 Division I basketball games last season, going all the way up to the Big East in a game involving DePaul. Bets were placed in amounts as high as $458,000 on Townsend to cover the first half spread against North Carolina A&T, with another bet coming in at $424,000 on Kent State to cover the first half spread against Buffalo. These players were being paid to point shave, and it was kind of crazy. You look at it in the first half performance of these teams and the games that involved bets with first half spreads versus their second half performance were night and day differences. And it begs the question, did this not cause any, what the heck is going on, that somebody bet almost $500,000 on Townsend to cover the first half spread?
Well, maybe this is how the investigation began, right?
Yeah.
So, but what I find, so some folks may be saying, I don't care, it's small schools, who cares? There may be some that say that. I'm going to tell you why. It's because of NIL that what would you call them? Not the mafia, the folks who kind of approach.
Yeah.
What is their nickname?
I don't really know.
Just gamblers.
Yeah.
They got a nickname.
They got to have a nickname. I can't think of what they're called.
All right, the mafia, whatever.
Yeah, we'll call them the mafia.
All right, but the reason they're going after these underappreciated schools, underappreciated schools, is because, in my opinion, because of NIL.
Yeah.
And you asked why, David Nuño.
I ask you why, David Nuño.
And the answer is, well, because of NIL, some of the bigger school kids are already getting paid.
Yeah.
They don't have leverage over them. Hey, I'll give you $430,000 to do this for me. No. They don't need to.
Yeah.
The smaller schools, though, and degenerates will gamble. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
People will gamble.
People will gamble
on anything, right?
Literally anything.
And then a lot of these are is it prop bets? Is that the way to phrase it? It doesn't necessarily, it can affect the outcome, but it doesn't necessarily affect the outcome. It just affects certain things in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
But by approaching kids that are at schools that are not high profile, that could use the money, that aren't getting paid.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you don't have to throw your game. Just got to make sure that your team has 3 turnovers in the first half.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Right? And you're going to get $30,000 for doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just making up a number.
Yeah. The idea is there. Yeah. I was reading into the article that ESPN posted yesterday, but it was crazy to see the spread would be 7.5 and the team would be losing by 20 at halftime.
Looks
are you just that bad?
Looks like we got Billy Liucci on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Let's go straight to it to talk to the executive editor and co-owner of TexAgs. Billy Liucci, good morning, sir.
David Nuño, what's up, buddy?
What are you doing? Driving?
Yeah, I am actually.
Yeah, just curious. Are you coming in?
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna come in, come visit you.
Hey, I enjoyed Ask Liucci yesterday, and if folks have not gone on TexAgs.com and become a premium subscriber, you're missing out on some really good content. I wanted to take some of what you discussed and kind of go a little bit deeper in a different direction. And I'll start. Oh, we lost him. That's great. So Billy, here's the tease. I want to talk more football with you. I don't know what happened. Maybe we call him back. Maybe he's walking in. What I want to ask him, Reese, so I can continue this thought, is where does he meal? It's kind of like an extension of what OB and I went on. So earlier on the show, we talked about, have they upgraded the position or not? I want to find out where he feels confident today, January the 16th, 2026, heading into next season. And where does he have maybe some early concerns? I want to see where he is on that, because one thing that he said on the Ask Liucci, which I think was just a really good point, was it's very hard to know, and that's for any team.
So you see the teams that are spending a lot of money. Like, look, the more talent you have, obviously that you have a higher probability of being very good than the less talent. So teams accumulating talent and teams losing talent, like Alabama. There's a lot of questions about Alabama because of all the players that have defected and left, right? And they can't be the big spenders that some of the other ones are. They're spending a lot of money, but they're not spending Texas Tech level of money. They're not spending Oregon level of money. They're not spending Texas level of money. And I don't think they're spending A&M level of money, right?
Yeah, I mean, to that point, like you look at just last year when we were looking at A&M schedule, and y'all have touched on it, but going to Notre Dame, playing Florida, LSU, Texas, like these were all games that people were like, these are going to be tough wins. And then you go in and you run LSU out of their stadium, you beat Notre Dame, and now people are saying that you're fraudulent. Like, you just don't know, especially in January, what a team looks like in August, September, October throughout the season.
You may not know during the season, too.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, when people talk about the season Ohio State had, Billy was one of the few that's like, who did they beat?
Yeah.
They did beat a very good Texas team, right? But since that point, but A&M beat a very good Notre Dame team.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams, now where you prove who you are is in the postseason. Indiana has proven who they are. Miami has, even though they had 2 midseason losses that looked bad on their resume, has proven who they are. Ole Miss, to me, actually showed me something.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know if I would have used the word fraudulent, but I didn't really believe in them mid-season before the whole Lane to LSU thing. And the way that played out, like, I give them props for beating Georgia. I do. I remember having conversations about Georgia early on, like, God, they just don't seem like the same Georgia. Then they seem like the same Georgia.
Yeah.
Then they seem like not the same Georgia. Like,
3-part
story all in the same season.
Yeah. And I mean, even with Oregon, like, people had questions about Oregon and Texas Tech. They play each other. Oregon shuts out Texas Tech. Well, then Oregon turns around and gets the brakes beat off of them by Indiana. So it's like
But Oregon's only lost to like championship teams over the last couple of years.
Oregon only lost to Indiana twice this year.
So Billy, I was going to go one direction, but it just kind of brought up how a season can take on different narratives in the same season. For instance, I brought up Georgia. Early on with Georgia, they didn't seem like old school Georgia.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of fraudulent questions about them. Maybe not fraudulent, but some questions about them. Then they seemed like old school Georgia. Then it turned out to be, no, they were more like what we thought in the beginning of the season. A&M had, in my opinion, 2 different types of seasons. They had the 11-0, like, found a way to win no matter what. And then the last 8 quarters, maybe you can say 10 out of the last 12 quarters. Not maybe, you can.
I'd say their last 3, yeah.
All right? Not looking so hot. It doesn't take away from the accomplishments that Georgia did throughout the year or Ohio State did throughout the year or A&M. But seasons take on, I think, different identities throughout. Texas, to me, did not look as good in the beginning of the year as they did at the end of the year. To their credit, the middle of the season when they were kind of getting almost beat, they found a way to win those games.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to.
No, you're
That's
right.
all I wanted.
You're right.
I said it all. You don't need to say anything.
You did. Like, I agree. It is. It's not. It is. It is an entire season's body of work. I don't think it doesn't mean that you can't form opinions at different points in the season, but don't get married to them and to where you can't come off of them. But the hard part, I think, for the playoff committee, it's not so much picking the right teams. There's always like that one. Who's to say Notre Dame couldn't be doing what Miami's doing right now? So there was that like 1, maybe 2 decisions there that are the toughest, but to me, it's more about even the seeding too. And I don't know, like, it's like March Madness. They always kind of make it seem like they're putting emphasis on, momentum going in. Do you do that in football or do you not? Or do you say you play 12 games? The whole thing is just, like, for instance, Oregon. They didn't beat, so A&M beat Notre Dame. Best thing Oregon did was go on the road and barely beat Penn
State?
No, that was number 2 at the time, and they rode that all year. That would have been like, could you imagine what people would have been saying? So it was Iowa, okay? They eked one out on the road against Iowa. In the SEC on A&M's schedule, that's damn near like Missouri this year. So let's say A&M, who beat Missouri by 21, went on the road and eked one out. I think that score may have been 20-15 or something like that. Won a game like that against Missouri. Then Oregon played Indiana. So let's say Texas, even though Indiana is a lot better, but they went, Oregon lost to Indiana at home. A&M lost to Texas on the road. And then really the only other thing, Oregon beat USC, A&M beat LSU. The only other thing that they didn't play and beat anyone.
Yeah.
So you had A&M beating Notre Dame. That was like the Penn State win for them at that time. Imagine if Notre Dame would have finished 5-7 or 4-8, whatever Penn State did. People were discounting that game for A&M, and Notre Dame was 10-2 and kind of the first team out of the playoff and in the field all year while people were trying to discount it. Like, what did Oregon do? Well, then they go in the playoff and they shut out Tech. And then they go a week later and they get their asses whipped by Indiana. A year after getting their asses whipped by Ohio State in that thing. So it's just too hard to tell. Oregon, I think, was a really good team, but they weren't held to the same scrutiny. And I think I took your question and took it a whole different place because I just think some of these SEC teams are held to like this anti-SEC bias. They really are. And Texas was when they lose to Florida and then struggle with some other teams. Like struggling with Mississippi State is not a good look when you trumpet yourself as the preseason number one with this Heisman winner that's going to go in the top 5 and you shout everyone down that disagrees with you nationally, locally, within the state, within a rivalry. Like when you're unbearable all off season and you're almost losing to Kentucky and Mississippi State, that's one thing. But there's a reality to it that they won the game on the road. Tennessee barely beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State beat Arizona State, who is staying in the rankings. I worry that because of it, the SEC's piss poor performance in the postseason this year, that next year, that anti-SEC push, and people will laugh and say, how everything goes through. No, man, like there is a group that for years, and it's a lot of the folks at The Athletic, it's Klatt, it's the whole Cannell, it's the whole Big Ten network, the big noon kickoff. Now they've got Barstool affiliated with them. So there's a lot of SEC pushback in terms of, and then you've got the ACC, you've got the Big 12, they're all kind of together. I don't think it's the end of any kind of world, and I do think the SEC deserves a little more scrutiny to say, hey, for whatever reason,
you're not winning.
The playing field's been leveled. Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do, a lot of it's Nick Saban
retiring,
and that Georgia's going through a little bit of a reload, not a rebuild, but like they've been to the playoffs the last 2 years. But from where Bama and Georgia were, Bama for the last the 15 plus years prior, and Georgia, that's a big difference when you have those two at the top, because you'd have basically Ohio State, Indiana. They've actually come off of that a little bit, and I think that's hurting the league as much as anything.
So, look, there's one that had 20 years of dominance, and now the Big Ten might have 3 straight years of dominance, right? They might.
It's a different kind of dominance. So it's dominance in that they're winning the title. I think they'll win. Don't discount Miami. We'll talk about that in a minute, but they're a heavy favorite to win. 3 in a row, 3 different teams is really impressive. It really is, and you got to give them credit. But does not compare.
No.
I'm not even saying over the length of time. I'm saying how strong the league is versus what the SEC was for 15 years, almost year in and year out. This Big Ten doesn't even. It's like they're playing a different sport outside of those top 3 in the last few years. Who else has been? Oregon now. The Big Ten, if USC can get their crap together and Penn State and Michigan can And I think they can. Here's my question. Which league has better coaches right now?
It's a great question.
I don't even think it's close. It's the Big Ten.
Signetti, Ryan Day.
Lanning. I mean, Lincoln Riley I put on this hand, but I mean he's done it before. Whittingham.
Yeah.
Campbell at Penn State now.
That's true.
Who are we forgetting? I mean, even on this hand, I'll put it because he's done it, but he's not like Matt Rule. I just Bielema.
So it's 7 or 8. Okay, let's go.
And
look
we
at the
keep going, but I keep going. And those top 5, man, are really, really strong right now.
Well, I mean, and also the SEC has just fired everybody. But
yeah.
You've got Lane Kiffin's got to be. I'd put him on that list.
I would too.
Okay, I would put Kirby absolutely on that
100%.
list. 100%. I think you got to put Sark on that list.
Yeah, I would. With that list, yeah, if I'm putting Whittingham and
if
Campbell,
you're putting Whittingham in that, if you're putting Campbell, I'm putting Elko on that list.
I would, but not. He hasn't done it over the longer period of time. He's been a head coach 4 years. I think 3 of those years, right? Well, really, all 4 have been good, and then with
one
2,
elite.
I think 2 great. His first year at Duke and his second year at A&M. So I think he's in there. But I would put him in the other one in terms of like, I think he's in there too. He's kind of the opposite of like the Bielemas and the Bielema and Matt Rule and Lincoln Riley in that those guys I don't know when they get it back, whereas it doesn't feel like it. Like Elko's clearly like on an ascent. But yeah, I mean Elko, Sark, Lane and Kirby. But here's my point of all this. The Big Ten, like, look at some of the coaching hires that they've made, whereas in the SEC, and I don't know if I'd put Venables there yet. He's kind of on that other hand. But you look at the hires this year, and the SEC they went with...
Is the board on that list?
I put him on the other hand. Okay. Again, like, I'm not putting him on there.
He's done more than Lincoln Riley, though.
He has, but is he fading down too?
Yeah,
I've got Lincoln on that other group as well.
Where's Drinkwitz with Missouri?
I'd put him in that one. I wouldn't put him up top. He's kind of. I think he's done a good job. But like, look at who the SEC hired. They took a coordinator from Oregon. They promoted a coordinator, a career coordinator at Ole Miss. They went and got a guy from Tulane. They went and got a guy from Memphis.
South Florida.
They went and got a guy from South Florida. And that's not to say none of these guys could be great, but look at those hires versus the Big Ten went out and got a guy that did an amazing job at Iowa State for a long time in the Big 12. They went and got a guy out of Utah that has won, I believe it's won Rose Bowl, at least one Rose Bowl, and done a pretty ridiculous things at Oregon. I just think that league, coaching wise, right now, I give the edge to, and I think that was so much of what strengthened the SEC for a really long time.
How far, and maybe it's a couple of years from now because it's still early, before we get a little Big Ten fatigue?
I've already got it. But no, I don't think. I think people will get tired of hearing, those certain mouthpieces. They're just so. Some of them I mentioned are so boorish and just won't stop with it, and it's just nobody really cares to hear that. Short term, long term, any of it. So I don't think it's something that's like here to stay. I think parity, more so than ever before, is here to stay.
Yeah.
I don't think the SEC will get back quite that level of dominance because just look at Alabama right now. So if you have one, like one little blip, and I know it's 2 years, but I mean, at the end of the day, they also went to the playoff
and won a
game this year. But if you have one blip, you guys start jumping ship. And Alabama, it's just so hard to sustain. You make a coaching change, and a year later, look at all the players they're losing. They lost 2 really good ones to A&M. You know, Georgia last year lost 2 backups to A&M. That's how you win games. You're starting corner like Tennessee. They're starting 2 corners get hurt. Maybe their backups have transferred to Arkansas and Mississippi State that would have otherwise been the starter. You know, so it just that dynamic of it has changed things considerably for the SEC, which used to kind of stockpile all that depth. And it used to be like, where are you going to go, man? Like, why would you leave the SEC when you're set to start next year? Why would you ever do that? Well, I'm getting paid. Well, I don't have to wait another year. And I don't have to sit out a year. Times have changed in that regard, so that that depth goes away, and that player development aspect and component has kind of gone by the wayside with the way kids move now.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is at 10:50, and that's brought to you by Double Days. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Days. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
know it.
So I won that one, Billy.
You did.
Billy said I said pizza. How did you think I said it?
Are we back on?
Yeah, we do a radio
This
show.
mic doesn't work because
you broke it.
No, because it's stupid. Because it's a stupid microphone that doesn't show, but it does show because it's a wire on the outside, and the whole thing is dumb. We've got people up here that think they know, that just kind of learn as they go, and they think that they can never be wrong in their assessment or what they decide needs to be done up here, when they don't acknowledge to themselves that, like, hey, we're not trained in this at all. We're just learning as we go. We've done a pretty damn good job of it, but at the end of the day, we don't really know what we're doing. We're just learning as we go. So maybe sometimes you make mistakes like this stupid microphone. And the reason why is I'm wearing a hoodie that's a little too thick, so their magnet is not working through it. So it continues to fall off.
Interesting.
So you can try to blame me all you want.
I haven't blamed anyone.
But it keeps, you did at the beginning of this.
You know, I wear hoodies too. Never had that problem. The magnet has worked every time.
If you would look at your hoodie, lightweight.
Right? Yeah, but I've worn a hoodie that thick before.
It's not true. I don't think you ever have.
In fact, I wore it within the last week. Coach Morrison, my good friend, brought me a hoodie, a volleyball hoodie that I wore.
How good a friend is he? Did you go support him in Kansas City when he played for a national title?
No, I have 4 children. I don't have money.
Last I checked, we're a multimedia company. If you wanted to cover and do
would you have allowed me to go?
If you wanted to do a live show from the volleyball Final Four, the answer would have been an emphatic yes. In fact, we had 2 people there.
Yeah, you
Kay and Callie.
You realized we had a playoff game that Saturday.
You could have gone up Sunday, okay, and done a post.
You were about to go too.
You could have done.
You didn't go.
I didn't go because they canceled a plane.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the flight I was going to go on to.
You weren't invited.
That's true. I don't have friends.
You have friends.
No, I'm not relatable. That's okay.
I'm glad that you've accepted that.
Yeah, it's fine.
What did I say?
I like people that are like me. Great.
And they're hard to find. And you
like
can
3 of
take
us.
that however you'd like.
I got Philip Vargas. I've got Randy Zahn. I've got Steve Nagley and Roy Sickman. That's what I got. And the fan show guys.
You bought. Yeah. No comment.
We almost ran out of time for this segment. And the question I was going to ask you, I don't think I can ask you. So let's just go to Reese Nygren, who can at least, why don't you bring up the gambling thing? And I want to see if Billy's on the same page as me.
Yeah, so there was an investigation launched into some point shaving occurring in 6 Division I basketball games.
Yeah.
Bets being placed as high as $458,000 on a school of the level of Townsend to cover the first half spread against North Carolina A&T. So my question was, did this not spark any intrigue with the books that somebody's betting almost $500,000 on Townsend to cover a first half spread?
You would think so. I mean, my God. Townsend.
There was also a $424,000 bet on Kent State to cover the first half spread against Buffalo.
Well, I mean, I guess that's how they got caught, right?
I guess. Well, you can also watch the games, and it's quite evident that who's point shaving and who's.
Really?
Yeah. One dude had 0 points in the first half and scored 20 in the second half.
Wow. That's pretty wild. I mean, with those kind of bets, it's like just a screaming red
yeah.
5 alarm.
There's like a red flag on all of those
My
bets.
point, Billy, was, though, that these smaller, not the A&Ms, the Texas Techs, the Miamis of the world, the reason they're going after those schools is because NIL isn't a thing like it is in these. And it's easier to get those players to be like, hey, here's 15 grand, here's 20 grand to do what I want you to do, as opposed to players here or any school with the kind of resources A&M has. That
Probably so.
That's what I.
There's also so much more access to players and athletes now, even at the highest levels, that it's got to be a major concern. In all these states where sports betting is legal, and you have all the apps and we're a sponsor of Prize Picks and all those things. It's just you just have to. I think they have to monitor it at a heightened level. It's just one of the many things now in college athletics they have to deal with. I had one the other day come up that I didn't think about. Somebody told me a story. I was like, damn. One of the many kind of slimy, sluggy, like a slug, like a snail without a shell. And, you pour salt on them and they that's shrivel up. That's probably can't do that anymore. But in the 80s, you could. They were on your front porch. You'd pour salt on them, they go away. literally go away. But like a slug, there's just a slug element of sports now that involves these high-powered agents or any agents. But, the big concern is these agents like, if me, you, and Reese decided to start an agency tomorrow, we can go start representing kids and calling head coaches and saying, hey, my client's eliminated y'all. Even though he was going to commit today, he hired us last week, and we're getting paid on the side by other schools and not you. Well, what's it going to take? Well, in your head, I think that other school paid me $50,000 cash, $200,000, and you'll get a visit. I mean, that you got those type agents. And by the way, pocketing the 200 and then still charging not 4%, but like 15, 20% to the kids and their families. So double dipping on top of already robbing them up front and having no feel or experience or knowledge of the industry and just going in. It's a lot of failed dumbasses in the industry that have come back to prey on kids and their families and take advantage of coaches that won't communicate with each other to say, hey, Sark, this kid is screwing you over and he's screwing me over and he's playing both sides. Sark, yeah, you're right. Elko, yeah, you're right. Venables, like, let's not let that happen. Okay, well, guess what? Then he ends up in Baton Rouge because one of you would have had him. Nobody wants to blink and be the one that hey, let's not take this kid. Let's not get bent over. Let's keep the price normal. You can't do that. You can do that with a couple coaches. You can't do it with 130 of them. You can do it with one conference. You can't do it from the SEC to the Big Ten to the ACC. So that part feels impossible. But what about the high-powered agent that represents you as a head coach and one of your star players wants to go to a portal and go to a school that is not one of your clients? How involved do you get in not getting your client the contract he wants, but just making sure that he doesn't leave said school, which is your coach that you need to win and that you want to win over a coach that's not your client and who maybe you have a grudge against because he's not your client? That kind of stuff is happening now too. So the whole thing, like whether it's what you guys are talking about, whether it's the low-level agent, the high-level agent, like what Lane Kiffin's doing right now at Ole Miss with these guys jumping in the portal at the last minute. Like the whole thing is look, I'm not offended by it. It doesn't affect my day or, we cover the sport, but you can say it's slimy and it's just ridiculous and completely out of control without being like offended by it on a personal level. I'm just stating facts, and I'm also saying what, so many people around the sport believe. But a lot of people believe it, but then still have to partake because it's there, and if you don't win, you're fired.
When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more football. I have a question for Billy that I started the show with, and also some Aggie basketball. That and more. It's TexAgs Live.
And the Aggies are in the Elite Eight.
He just said that.
Luke Evangelist examined Joe Lunardi's new bracket that Reese had to alert him of because Luke was slipping. And
I'm on. Yeah, Billy's talking.
yeah, we know that. And so Luke has looked
Is
at
his mic not working?
Luke, while we were in the break, Reese told him the new Lunardi bracket, and Luke walked out the door and said, "We're going to the Elite Eight." So there you have it, Ags, with that draw. Okay.
Credit. He doesn't just think we're. He said
So he had
with the
them
draw,
blowing past number
Yeah.
2 seed Nebraska, who, by the way, is really good.
and then BYU's the 3 seed. We would probably have to.
Is
I watched BYU the
Steph
other
Curry
night.
kid still
Also
there?
pretty damn
They're
good.
they're pretty good.
Huh?
Is the Steph Curry shooter from Nebraska still there?
Oh, no.
He's gotta
Tommy
be 40
Naga?
by now. Yeah.
No,
Steph
he's
Curry.
he's
No.
gone.
All right, so this is what I wanted to start off at 10 o'clock with. All right, but it's 10:40. Where do you feel confident? Where do you have early concerns based on today, roster-wise?
Oh, man.
Good question.
Well, it is, except I did a whole show with Gabe on the roster, then you and
I
I on
didn't
the
hear it.
Luchador
Sorry.
broke it down with Bronny. So, but with that said, because I've already, it's a different question.
It is different.
I know, I'm giving you a hard time. But let me think of how to answer it where it's not similar. If we're 6 months forward here, getting ready for the season, and we're talking about this, what do I think I'll be saying? It's not. I would be. I feel good about like the talent up front, but I'd be worried about like, can they have continuity along the O-line with that many portal guys? I think other programs have proven you can. In the past, we would never have thought that, but I think it might be more about having experienced players than having like older, more guys that have played enough college football, rather than have like a fine-tuned unit. Because I think nowadays with spring ball and the whole offseason, you can do that. We all know about quarterback. Does Marcel make that jump? But to me, the positions that I would be like in the most wait and see or concern mode, I would really want to see how some of these other backs develop, particularly the true freshman, and maybe as important as anyone, Jamarian Morrow. That would be the backfield. I do think Ruben Owens make another jump this year. Like I do. I think people have like the last couple games in their head, and he had some good moments, when he had to step in. But he's got to be a better back as a senior if he wants to go play at the next level and go on and help this team win the biggest of games next year. Break some more tackles, things like that. But I need to see Morrow emerge as a like high-end SEC back. And he's not the biggest guy and all that, but I mean, neither was Travion Williams, and he led the SEC in rushing and ran for like 1750 or something, had an incredible year. So I think Morrow's got star potential, so I'd want to see that. And then defensively, my concerns would be proven depth at linebacker. Coney has to hit. He almost has to hit, right? Like that's why I was hoping they'd take two in case one didn't. But Coney has to hit. He has to be healthy. He can't miss every 3 out of 4 games like Scooby did. So he's got to be a hit there. And if he is, it changes things. If he is, and either McHale or Lockhart step their game up into that whole nother level of development, then I'll feel a lot better. But you have to see that. I don't have a lot of like who's generating the pass rush. I think I really feel good about Saka and Marco Jones, but I still think you remember what you lost.
Well,
and I felt so much better last year about Cassius Howell going into this because I knew what he had and what he was.
But
maybe Saka's proven that in the Big Ten.
You were the voice when it came to Cassius Howell, probably as early as right now last year. But most people right around now were saying, well, A&M lost 3 guys to the draft. I don't know how they're going to be able to make that up. And they did. And it wasn't just Cassius, but Cassius was obviously the catalyst. So a lot of these questions we just don't know yet.
No, you don't. And because I could say the same thing about the interior D-line. I thought Onyedem was really good last year. Regis has been really good for a couple years. But no one knows what does Landon Rink, DJ Sanders, what do they look, Chase Sims, what do those guys look like in year 2? Are the 3, Swain, Mims, the 3 they landed in the portal, those 3 plus DJ Hicks, plus those freshmen, like, that might be a team strength. And that's what you're talking about. Like last year, I thought end was a strength, and it wasn't just because of Cassius Howell. It was Deion Hayes at times. It was TJ Searcy who's back. And so you just don't know. Rylan Kennedy had some moments. He left. So Marco Jones as a true freshman, all you knew really anything about was, hey, Rylan Kennedy sometimes can get some pressure off the edge. A lot of times as a backup coming in with just extra juice, it's not being a starter. And you knew that Cassius ended the year strong. That was all you really knew about that position, and look what they did.
Well, you'd need, I think, Marco to take a bigger step than Rylan took.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Marco
needs to take a Cassius step.
Noah McHale, and Jamarian Morrow are 3 guys in year 2. And I would even say Ashton Bethel-Roman, even though there's other weapons there with Craver and Horton and Bussy and some of those young guys. I get it. But like, if I'm talking about young players, that this team would be so much better if these young guys took like a massive leap, circle those guys. It literally, Morrow in the backfield, McHale at linebacker, Jones at end, and Bethel-Roman at receiver. They all showed to various levels what they could do last year. Some of them against outstanding teams, particularly Bethel-Roman and Morrow. Jones, if you pop on the tape, really did some nice things too. McHale in a lesser role. But those 4 guys need to make the jump because I think they're 4 of the more promising young players on the roster. And if you think about the fact that they're at 4 different positions, running back, wide receiver, DN, and linebacker, if those guys make the jump towards what we think they're going to be and what the coaching staff thinks they're going to be this year, you get significantly better at 4 different positions on the field.
You mentioned Morrow. I'm looking at Amari Daniels, his growth from 22 to 23. So that's his sophomore to junior year, but that's when he got the significant more carries. He had 36 carries for 200 yards in 22. In 23, 105 for 532. If you get that from Morrow, because Morrow last year, 43 carries, 182 yards. So what I'm saying is the same level of touches, basically. If you can get that from Morrow, I think you're feeling significantly better about that run game.
Yeah, and I love Amari as a player. I just loved what he meant to the room and just how reliable he was when they needed him. But he was never contending for all SEC. Like, you need Morrow to be that kind of back, and I think that because they believe he can, and so I think you need to see a jump of like to 800 yards.
Oh, wow.
Like that type of back in year 2. Like,
if he does that.
And that's if he's sharing it, with Ruben and some of the young guys. But, I mean, I think...
So what does Ruben do then in that case?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're both 800-yard back. Maybe you get 1,500 out of 10. I don't know what they got this past year. I don't know if that's like a massive...
I think Ruben was under 700.
Yeah, but then you had Le'Veon for some, and you had EJ for some.
Ruben 639.
Yeah, so if you look... So I'm saying, what did that room generate last year, Reese? I think Morrow needs to be an impact player, period. I don't care what... We can break down numbers, whatever. I think he needs to be more of an impact than like a 500-yard back.
We'll hit a break.
Go ahead, Reese.
Reuben Owens had 119 carries for 639 yards and 5 touchdowns. Le'Veon Moss, 77 carries for 404 yards and 6 touchdowns. Amari Daniels, 41 carries, 216 yards and a touchdown. E.J. Smith, 44 carries, 205 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that didn't even count Morrow and his So they're well over 1,500. They're probably more like 1,800, 17 something. Yeah, I mean, I think you want Morrow to be a breakout player in the SEC this year.
Hit a break. We'll finish off with some basketball. It's TexAgs Live. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. And we're back. Apparently I'm gassed out.
Apparently.
What was that about? It was a break. You were reading. Did you want to chit-chat? We can chit-chat.
You thought I meant you were like gassed out, like you ran out of gas. It sounded like you were passing gas through the whole break. I'm sorry, you put me on the spot.
Not one time. Did you hear that too?
I
not one time.
Anything.
There hasn't been one time of that.
Okay.
Never in the studio. Only in your car. We close up.
It was a simple statement. It was a joke, but as usual, you have to awkward and weird it out. You're moving around in the chair, and it's making fart sounds, okay? So I said, what are you, gassed out over there? And then you turned it into a whole segment. So nice work. Kind of like the thick hoodie versus the thin hoodie.
You're the one who made that a
hell of a show.
You're the one who complained about the microphone. Some of us
kept
just
falling
do this.
off. In fact, we got this one
Can
now.
we just finish with some basketball, please?
Sure.
This matchup.
I'm sure you won't go. I'm going to be there. I don't really, because you're not married and you don't have children and a family. Go ahead.
No, I want you to continue.
No, that was it. That's what you thinking. So I just read your mind. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You know what? You care more. That's it. That's just the bottom line.
Well, clip that for Bucky. Anyway,
Well, a Texas team that's a week ago, I didn't think they were playing really good, and now they're like the best
It's
team in the
kind of
world.
like the football season.
Yeah.
You play a mid-season, you
can
feel
destroy
really
them.
confident, you throttle them, and then just perfect timing, they are playing great basketball. I actually watched the game the other night because, after they beat Alabama and with A&M coming up, and I watched a lot of basketball this week. It was fun Monday and Tuesday, even on to Wednesday outside of the SEC. But Texas, they've got now he got banged up at the end of the game. It'd be interesting to see if that affects him. It all looked like could have been like a quad or a thigh bruise or something. But the 7'2" center, who center is a loose word because he can step out too, but 7'2", you just look at him causing problems against Vandy, and you know how size starved this A&M lineup is, and it's scary. He scored, 22, 24 the other night for Texas. They've
22.
got 22, yeah. They've got a bunch of veterans. They've still got.
They have the oldest dude, Tremont Mark.
Yeah, the resident Aggie killer. He's buzzer beat A&M at 2 different schools already, and he's playing well. So they've got. And Sean Miller's a really good coach. Yeah. He always has been. It was a great hire for them, I thought. Are they unbeatable? No. Are they playing basketball at a great level for 2 games? Yes. How many times have we seen this, though? In the SEC, just this year, but any year, and in college basketball, for me to go, they're done with that team that had got off to, what was it, Reese? Was it like a 8-7-5, 9-6 start, whatever it was?
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
What are they right now?
They are currently 11-6.
They were 9-6, 2 games ago. Have they turned the corner never to look back? I doubt it. I don't think that's the case at all. Are they playing hot basketball that should carry over to a home game against a rival? Yes. I think you're going to get a really good Texas team tomorrow evening, and I think A&M's going to have to play out of their minds to win. They played out of their minds for like 38 and a half minutes in Knoxville and almost won a game that no one thought they could win because they were so overmatched size-wise, because Tennessee needed that game so badly. Tennessee, the same team that drilled Texas, a week ago?
Yeah.
So they were good enough to beat Tennessee on Tuesday night. They're good enough to go into Austin and win, even with Texas playing well. But they are catching the Longhorns, I think, at a tough time. If they can win this game, and you go 3-1, you'd be 4-1 in the SEC with Mississippi State at home, then South Carolina at home. And Mississippi State had one of their better players get hurt the other night and needed to be helped off the court late there. So I wonder how Epps will be able to play on Wednesday. But if you beat Texas, you have a very real look at a chance to be 6-1 playing at home in 2 games against State's pretty good team because they've got
Hubbard,
the ultimate scorer in Hubbard. Yeah. Put up, with the way A&M plays, you might beat them with him putting up 38. You could, but point being, you're playing 2 games at home against teams that aren't at the top of the SEC by any stretch. So yeah, you've got, if you can beat Texas, man, you have a chance to be one of the real surprise stories at SEC play as you approach the midway point. Like this is a great opportunity. It makes it that Tennessee loss hurt that much more because you would already be in that spot even if you lost to Texas tomorrow. But you lost a close one, win a close one. It's what this league is. There are going to be games like Auburn. There are going to be games like Tennessee. Your job is to take it down to the end and give yourself a chance to make it go either way, especially when you're going to kind of either be an underdog or on the road or giving up something in the way of size or depth. Or I don't know how much A&M will give up in the way of depth, but size, experience within a system, things like that. In this game, I think they're just giving up size. Texas is a hot team. A&M is a couple of missed free throws or a missed three-pointer away from being the hottest team in the SEC.
Yeah.
So don't forget that as you're trying to decide whether or not you think your Aggies can win tomorrow.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate
All right,
you.
buddy.
And thank you to the Rogue Shop for bringing you this extended version
Oh, I didn't even know this was.
Yeah, we just kept on going.
Keep going.
All right, keep going.
Putting you on the spot. Give me a topic.
You want a football topic or a basketball
Sure,
topic?
football.
Okay. Off-season checklist.
Okay.
All right. Is that a long topic you want to wait for Monday?
No,
or?
I just laughed how you said it like it was already ready to go.
I did have it ready to go. I have extra stuff just in case. Yeah.
A lot of tricks in my bag.
But now I got to think of new tricks for Monday. Anyway, what I love